because I continued my journey of inquisition and questioning about all things cryptocurrency and DeFi related. And I want to share with you a clip of my good friend Teeka Tiwari, who's been on London Reels countless times, talking about all sorts of innovations happening in the DeFi sector and cryptocurrency sector. And this is Teeka talking about his first exposure with something called Ethereum, which is now the whole basis of much of these smart contracts. All that's been built on the back of this Ethereum blockchain. And this is Teeka talking about his first experiences and then how he knew this was going to be one of the major building blocks of DeFi in the future. One of the things I found really interesting that you said is that I think currently there's only about 35 million people that have invested in crypto.
Correct.
Whereas there's 500 million people, about 500 million people in the world that invest in the stock market. And if you can get all of those people to get access to the crypto markets, you can just see that's like a 15 times increase in investors, which could just mean more capital, more interest, bigger market caps.
Yeah, and so I want to bring this back to the altcoins, because the altcoins have been, the altcoin is any coin other than Bitcoin, and they've been underperforming Bitcoin.
And one of the first altcoins was Ethereum, and you were one of the first people to talk about that, right?
I was. It actually wasn't one of the first altcoins. There were others, but we can talk. We'll talk about Ethereum. So when I saw Ethereum launch, that's when I started doing a deep dive with insiders, and I started connecting with the people that actually put Ethereum together. And
Why are insiders important? Just for people that maybe haven't been in the industry, what does an insider tell you that, say, a white paper won't, or a website chat room won't tell you, you know?
So what an insider does, what I like to do, I'm very good at reading people, right? I can tell if somebody is full of crap or not very quickly.
In person.
In person, right? Which is a lot harder to do just watching a video. So I observe body language. I'll ask people extremely difficult, very direct questions. And if they hesitate or just don't answer or will shift the conversation, it just tells me a lot about, the underlying project. And so I also want to find out just how good are they technically, right? And I'm no programmer, but I know a lot of excellent programmers. And so I'll introduce, let's say, somebody that I've met, somebody that I know is a very smart person technically, and get their read. And so the reason why I talk to these insiders and the insight that they give me is on what's coming up in the code, just how really smart they are, how smart their team is, and who is going to be using the product. So I'll give you a prime example with Ethereum. With Ethereum, I started talking to people at different banks, and I started talking to some of the founders of Ethereum, and what I found out is that all the major banks were spinning up versions of Ethereum and testing Ethereum. They were building proof of concepts on Ethereum. Another industry insider that I spoke to was telling me anecdotally that she was at a hackathon event, and 85% of the programmers there were working on Ethereum, not Bitcoin. This is when Ethereum was at $6-7. And I said, look, you've got the smartest people in the world are choosing to build on Ethereum. You've got all the major banks are doing proof of concepts on Ethereum. I've spoke to one of the founders of Ethereum. It was $7. He said, listen, this is going to be $100 in under a year. And he explained to me why. And I said, okay, this is real. So I started doing, again, another deep dive. And then I actually wrote a report on Ethereum. And I put together a pricing model of why I thought Ethereum would go from $7 to around $350. And at the time, that was a 12 billion. I was saying that Ethereum was going to have more than a $30 billion market cap when the market cap for the whole space was sub 12 billion, right? This was insane. And I put it in print and widely distributed this report. And people said, you're insane, you're a hype man, you're a shill, worse words that I can't use here.
But you've never been afraid to say your opinion when you believe in something.
No, if I believe it, I'm going to give you my real unvarnished opinion. I just don't care what other people think or say, because it's easy to be a critic, right? It doesn't take any talent to be a critic. It takes real work to think through an idea and see the world differently from everybody else, articulate it, and then put your reputation on the line and go popularize it, right? That's work. It's not easy to do. And you have to be willing to be unpopular.
Imagine that, buying Ethereum at $7. If you check it today, it's in the thousands of dollars. But it just goes to show you that understanding the insiders back then, Teeka could really see this was emerging and this was going to be the platform of choice. And it now is. It's one of the major pieces of infrastructure in DeFi going forward. And so that was my little bit of a trip through memory lane. Honestly, I got another 20 videos I could play for you with all the fascinating discussions I had about decentralized finance and crypto and all the players over the years. I mean, many of these people have gone on to become billionaires